Tried to make this video several times and the computer screwed up several times. So I'm just going to forget all the opening remarks and just getting into it. So one thing is about the multiverse and our universe. Okay. Now our universe is this multiverse. So like one commenter was talking about how I like the idea of multiple universes. Mathematically that's fine. It's just that the reason that comes about is because if you want to model our real whole multiple universe or whole universe, the word universe where it's supposed to mean everything that's all connected together at some point in time, and you're going to use the classical model, then you need more than one universe. Because the classical model doesn't allow the kinds of contradictions we find in the real universe, right? So let's just call the universe one thing, and it's complex. Now one thing to keep in mind is just because there's infinite possibilities and infinite potentials for this split universe thing, that doesn't mean everything happens, right? For example, there's an infinite number of points in a circle, right? But they're not anywhere. They're very much a certain distance from some other point, the center of the circle, right? So similarly, an infinite number of universes doesn't really mean every possible universe has happened. And it doesn't mean every type of universe is possible. Every type of classical universe, right? So what I had come to realize was that in the splitting, this evident splitting of the universes, there's also remerging. There's a lot of remerging. It's not collapse, though. It's sloshing around, okay? Now, the point of this one universe is that yeah, there could be other possibilities in this universe, like Hitler won the war, who knows, even macroscopic ones. Certainly things like, how quick something radiated heat be in one universe, different in another. And whatever the potential effects of that, right, including with chaos theory, potentially big effects from slightly different initial conditions, depending on the system. So it's like this whole universe is a big sphere. And our life is just a cross-section, a plane, a section, a circle of that. Only be better, imagine instead of a sphere, imagine a three-dimensional Mandelbrot, a Julia set. A three-dimensional Mandelbrot set. And we are a slice of that. So the edges are fractal. There's still this indeterminacy because of the recursive mathematics. But it's still all determinable. It's just infinite computing time to actually determine what it all is. So it still has that kind of nature, and it's also just a slice of a big three-dimensional thing, with very similar patterns and very different ones available in different cross-sections. This is a deterministic model with the appearance of randomness having to do with the fact that our planes are all at different incident angles. In other words, we cross-section a little bit differently, and that cross-section makes it look like just one subset of all the possibilities happen, right? So everything happens, everything that classically could happen, happens, all right? It all happens, but it looks like we have a random choice of one of the things happens, and that's because that's where our cross-section is. We're cutting out of the fractal plane right through the point where a particular event happened, and all the other possibilities are for other cross-sections, right? So the universe then, as this zero-point universe or one universe, it's simply it's like if you have a bacteria, an ancient bacteria in the ocean, it has no eyes, it's just floating around. Does it know it's floating around in a three-dimensional ocean? No, it's just going forward and backward, and either there's food and the conditions are changing. It probably has a half-D notion. A now, and I can wiggle my things and move where I am. I could stay here and the conditions pretty much stay the same for a while, or I could swim away and the conditions will change rapidly. Whatever dimensionality is required to have that. Now with our eyes and everything, we needed 4 dimensions in order to process and correlate all that data. But we don't have all the data that's available. There's whole other things that seem to contradict our 4-dimensional models. All that means mathematically is you need more dimensions. If you have apparent contradictions and you want to join them together, you do it by joining them into a higher space where the contradictions have space to contradict. They don't contradict anymore. if I say a point is at, a certain x value, right? And another point, there's only one, point at any given x value, and it's at 5, And then I say, hey, there's another different point at 5. Oh, contradiction. They can't both be in the same place. But if I have the y-axis, then they can, because their y can be different. Still a unique point. You can always get around. This is where we get the mathematical kludging from, where people just are accused of and have made mathematical systems that fit the data by saying, oh, it's a 40 dimensions, it's 20 dimensions, because you can always add dimensions, but not everything should get its own dimensions. If two things are interrelated, if the value of x is not totally independent of the value of y, then you don't have your orthogonal coordinate systems. You want to have an orthogonal set of coordinates, and then the number of axes you have in that case is the dimensionality. Okay, now the real universe is obviously higher dimensioned than the 4 we think we have now, or the 3.5, or however you want to count these ones we're dealing with now. And we're just like that bacteria in the ocean. We're in the ocean, we're getting information that could tell us the truth, but we don't have great sense organs for it. We don't have experience with it yet, so it's slow coming for us to accept this extra information, and we keep drawing off of this subset, this cross-section of information. Well, now with modern physics, for 100 years, we're getting a glimpse into the ocean. It's like we've evolved eyes, just faint, very not good quality ones, but they can see for sure that we're in this ocean, this spherical ocean. We're not just on a plate, a circular plate. We're in a spherical ocean. Now we seem limited to be in our cross-section, but we can reach over nearby cross-sections. And this is producing interesting physics, because that's how the universe really is. Okay? The way you think the universe is, that's just how you've evolved to the point you have now. You've gotten a certain amount of data, and you were able to correlate it all with it on a 4-dimensional basis. Yay for you. Okay, but there's more information that you won't be able to do in a classical 4-dimensional thing-based philosophy. And by the way, when I'm talking about objects and things, I'm talking about predicate logic. And the objects of predicate logic, a predicate like X is a man, and the object then is X, and the X is said to have a property, manness, from being in that category. That's the model of object that I'm arguing against as being a metaphysical and ontology for the real world. There are no such things as that in the real world. But I'm not against using the word or the concepts. Why? Because there is an object in our mind. And when we're talking about objects, we're doing a kind of mathematics with ideas, concepts in our mind. I have the idea of an object, of a horse. It's actually my encapsulation of what the horse means to me, information that I need to manage my relationship with the horse. And then by talking about it as a thing, I can talk about a bunch of horses at once, and you have the horses, and the horses, I can do the logical mechanics of talking about this phenomenon, my relationship with a particular horse, or all horses, or horses I haven't even met yet. All of this is enabled by the fact that I use the word thing, and the word is about something in my mind. I don't find that a problem, giving up the idea that a word is about a thing in the real world. No, it's about something in my mind, which is a model of a phenomenon, the phenomena being my relationship to something, and that is what's in the real world, whatever's at the other end of my relationship, whether it's a computer, simulation, a dream, or anything. All right, hopefully this one worked.